It's looking nearly done.
Yeah, nearly done. So you just mash it with your spoon. But the easy way, if you can afford a blender.
So just mashing the sweet potato.
The sweet potato. And the consistency of the mash should depend on the age of the infant. For first time complementary feeding, it should be very smooth.
Yeah.
But from 7 months on about 8 months, you don't really have to get it very smooth as you do when you're starting complementary feeding.
And how long would they eat it for? What age would the baby eat the complementary food?
From 6 months onwards, we're going with the WHO recommendation of exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. Then afterwards, complementary. We introduce them to complementary food.
It's not the prettiest of foods, is it, either of them?
Nah, it's a color. It's like what's in it.
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Now we've used about a full cup for the sweet potato based one, and for the maize based, we use about 2 cups. Twice of what we use for the sweet potato based one. We reduce the detail to allow it to breathe.
The next step is to test taste, is it?
Yeah, if you're ready, you can taste it now.
Okay, so do I use a spoon?
You can use this one.
So this is a maize-based one.
This is the maize-based one.
I've never tasted anything like that before. Yeah, it tastes slightly fishy. A greenish taste to it.
Yeah, it's because of the quality of milk. Depending on how you feel here, to make the ingredients, it will be smoother.
Yeah.
But we didn't get very smooth fly using them, so we didn't get to bring it this way. So you can taste the sweet potato based on that.
Right.
Then we'll add some steak.
So I'm just going to blow on that to cool it down a bit. I can really taste the sweet potato, and it tastes nice.
Thank you. That's what we've been promoting.
So we think we've got the answer here for
That's my supervisor.
much for
Thank
Africa.
you.
A good, easily grown based baby food that will have high levels of available iron, high levels of beta-carotene. I'm just waiting for some evidence to try
Well, Jack Code, and we also heard from Francis Amagloh, both from Massey University.
Okay, so that describes the processing. So you know the sweet potato. And one I have to, in New Zealand, they don't give fish to baby.
Why is that?
They don't. When I started the program, most of my supervisors, why do you give fish to babies? I said it's a good source of protein and iron at the household level in Ghana. And as I said earlier, I'm not in support of micronutrient. Not because I hate it, but because it's not available at the household level for the woman living in Garrison Planning where I wake up now. That's only my reservation about micronutrient. If it's available and anybody can get it, I'll support it. But if it's not, I don't really support it. So as of now, I'm not in favor of using micronutrient to study the micronutrient status of it. Logically, if you add micronutrient to something and you feed a baby, you should expect that the micronutrient you've added will improve the nutritional status. But it is sustainable. Sorry. For Comfort 2, all we did was now to compare the vitamin A density. And you could see that the orange fresh sweet potato, which I'm promoting, I can confidently promote that one, not the cream fresh, met all the vitamin A requirements. And the good thing is, because it is not spray-form vitamin A, if it was spray-form vitamin A and it's higher than what is required, you can kill your baby because of toxicity. But for beta-carotene, the body decides that it will only take the amount that is needed and the rest will be excreted. So that's the good news about it. So if sweet potato complementary food, which can be prepared by the woman in Naivin, can meet all vitamin A, why won't we promote it? If you compare it to Winnemix, that's the green one there, you realize it is not. And this really confirms the study done by Prof. Latte for her PhD, where Winnemix alone did not improve the vitamin A status of infants, unless it is enriched with micronutrient mix. For the iron content, they were similar anyway. There were no statistical difference. But when you look at Winnemix, it's been added. It's as high as this. So the fish powder we use, though it's not a good source of iron, really gives a level that is similar to the minimum requirement for complementary food. And I hope in the next 5 years, even the levels of iron in food for infants are going to change. The reason being that there are 3 studies now so far from the same lab, from Zurich, I've forgotten the name. This human nutrition lab, it was first headed by Prof. Richie Corey, and now it's Zimmerman who is handling it. They've done 3 trials using small amounts of iron, tiny and level iron. But to do that, they have to add more ascorbic acid to enhance the iron. And they have tested and found out that low iron in presence of ascorbic acid is available. And the reason why they started that study was most of the nutritionists should have seen it by now. There was a study in Tanzania, the Benta study, where infants were given iron supplement and folic acid, and they started dying. And they had to stop the study. So now the approach is changing from low iron. So the level that has been stated, I know in the next 5 years we will be talking about this higher amount. And the higher amount was stated based on the food that has low bioavailability, like a cereal-based complementary food. So if the sweet potato base is natural, then we don't need that high amount of iron. But there are several things we have to do. And Ghanaians, we can get out, we can just support the whole issue where we can try what we have seen. If it's going to work, then why do we need to add excess iron? Excess iron is also toxic. And unfortunately, in our environment like this with high infection and malaria, what happens is there's a hormone called hepcidin. When you have infection, the level goes high. Higher hepcidin reduces the iron uptake. So the iron will still be in your plasma. Iron in the plasma is free food for the malaria parasite when the second stage and the third stage. And also, another bacteria can feed on it. I think that was the reason for the kids dying on the Bempa stage. Then I also did the fighting on the sweet potato base. I was not very happy. I had to run the one on orange for about 16 times. I remember when I had to pick the kids, drop them at home, rush to the lab, left about midnight. But I was still getting consistently higher concentration than the cream fresh sweet potato variety. And I was thinking, why should this be that? I don't know. Because the method I used was not based on HPLC. I'm trying to get some colleagues and other people to do based on HPLC for us to investigate. But the good thing is it was at least half the level in Winnemix. And for Cerelac, because the Cerelac we used here was based on beef, we have dehull. And cereals, when you dehull it, you take all the phytate off. But sorghum, unfortunately, when you dehull phytate, increases because the phytate is located in the cotton. Total polyphenols, I was expecting this because sweet potato can be considered as a fruit, it's slightly higher. But recent publication has shown that different sources of polyphenols have different effects on iron absorption. And the one I read, which was based on the cowpea, I've forgotten, was not very effective reducing iron as compared to the phytate to iron mineral ratio. But then the good thing for the sweet potato based complementary food, the one that made me jump during my second study was this one. Because you realize my major concern was the first method which involved flour extraction before being used led to total degradation of ascorbic acid. When I changed the method to the simple method to the simple food processing method I used, the content is even higher than the minimum requirement in coded standard. And because ascorbic acid is a known enhancer of iron absorption in the presence of phytate, what I can return suggest is, because we haven't done any clinical trial to investigate it, but based on published literature, we can say that the level of ascorbic acid in the sweet potato base can counteract the inhibitory effect of both its polyphenol levels and ascorbic levels. And phytate level, thank you, I'm still not here. And of course, beta carotene is expected to be high because it's sweet potato. And if what they have published is going to be true on a large scale, it's vitamin A that they have investigated and found out that it's not always the case that it enhances iron absorption. But beta carotene has been done and shown to have the same effect as ascorbic acid, but it was on a small scale. So based on the fact that beta carotene was high, ascorbic acid was high, there's a high probability that it would negate the inhibitory effect of the polyphenols and phytate. Other studies which I will not bother you with the data was I did a protein that is genetically corrected for amino acid scoring. And the comfort formulation is slightly higher than both the cereal and the vinegar. They have lasting different amino acids as the limiting amino acid. But when the group study led to the minimally supported group better than the comfort formulation, there was no statistical difference. And both the vitamins and the comfort gave higher growth than the cereal. The reason is related to the content of protein. So all that we are calling this afternoon, all researchers in Ghana, just replacing maize and peanut in minimums with orange fresh sweet potato white. You have a complementary food that could be a good source of dietary vitamin A. It will enhance iron absorption, support growth as really means, lead to less energy and nutrient tingling because from the radio interview you realize I use twice a cup for processing vinegar than using for comfort. So the case is, let's promote sweet potato for complementary food. However, the major limitation is everything I have presented now was based on compositional analysis. I haven't done any feeding trial to investigate the potential benefit of it, and that's the next stage. That's why I'm in Ghana. My supervisor was suggesting that then do for another 2 years, so that we have to come finish the story. If it's going to help, then we can promote it. If not, then the case. But the data is looking so good, so I have to write it now. And we acknowledge Nutritional Research Foundation. They give us grant for our first trial for my doctoral work. And we sent them the report. They were so happy about our finding. And they give us more for the second study. So that's why I did the second study. And of course, I was supported by the institute and the sweet potato growers in New Zealand also supplied them. And Malaysia for giving us the cereal grapevine children. And these are postgraduate students. Marielle, a French student who came for exchange program, and she was happy to join my group for this work. And of course, the wonderful group, the Y2K group for nutrition and science. There's no group like that, very good. But before I ask for a question, I want to give you a treat from New Zealand. Yeah. Haka. You see how strong the men are in New Zealand. They play rugby instead of our football. And this was before the final match. France and New Zealand, the finals. And they won, but was it a point? Yeah, just a point. It was a hectic one. It's not that easy. Yeah. Thank you. So that's my wonderful supervisor and my mental research scientist.
Thank you very much, Mr. I think we can do better. I'm sure now it's ready for questions from us, so the floor is open for questions. Do you have any questions for Mr.
Yes. Yes, if I heard you right, you said you have to mash the sweet potato.
Yeah.
Does it mean that it was a wet formulation? Or you, after mashing, you dry it into powder?
Yeah. After cooking everything for comparison analysis, it was freeze dry. But at the household level, I don't expect them to freeze dry it and reconstitute the grey water before they feed to the babies. Yeah, so you just mash and feed to your baby. Wait.
You know what?
Yeah, just like in potato. Yeah, sweet potato in potato. That was the method I learned from my mother. That was the same thing. Yeah, and so just using potato, sweet potato in potato. With soya bean, we don't really need the soya bean in because of the fish. But if we are promoting without soya bean and in communities where they cannot afford the anchovy, if you feed sweet potato alone to your baby, I'm not promoting that. That's why I included the soya bean. Because that one is cheaper. Yeah.
And secondly, don't you have a foundation? Okay, don't you think you have a foundation? So including the serums, that's using the sweet potatoes, cereals, even the peanuts, because people like the peanuts because of the flavor.
Yeah.
It gives a nice flavor to it.
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about was the cereal is the main as a source of the starch and all the carbohydrate, the main cereal. So if we have a crop that can replace it, it's okay. For the peanuts, I'm consuming it. But I will not suggest using a peanut and soya bean in combination, because peanut is number one in fighting. So you can either drop the soya bean in the convert formulation and replace it with peanut. That will be okay. And I'm also thinking about, instead of the cooking oil, using palm. What's the name of the palm nut oil? Palm oil. Palm oil, but there are other considerations for the fatty acid profile in that one is not as good as the oil. And if we are going to add the palm oil, it's for vitamin A. But the orange sweet potato is already giving you more than what is required. So I would not advise that.
Okay, just based on what you said, is it possible to now have the cream flesh sweet potato and use palm oil as your vitamin A
as a source of
vitamin A, because it seems that the characteristics of the, all the other, we're showing the same thing. The phytate and polyphenol inhibiting, the all characteristics are the same.
You can use it, but it still comes to the basic fact that if you have the orange fresh sweet potato, it's available now, but you saw the people eating it in Ghana. Just that what they sell on the market is not.
It's not.
Yeah. Which I don't support anyway. But if you have the orange flesh, then go for the orange flesh. But if you are adding the palm nut, then we have to consider the palm oil. We have to consider the fatty acid, because it's going to be an issue. Because the profile there is not very good. I was thinking about using Zoom.
The reason why I'm saying that is because people kind of prefer the orange flesh with potatoes, and we now have to promote the use of the orange flesh because of the vitamin A content. You have to promote this one. So if they prefer this cream flesh, is there a way of making what they prefer by just adding the oil? But as you're saying, it's something to consider. I think it's we want them to look at so that we don't just use the orange flesh. But if they prefer this, then we can also modify it.
We can modify it. Yes. So then the floor is now you. I don't want to be the only person working on sweet potato, but if you are working with sweet potato, you have to be careful. But I was down for about 3 months. It was about 2 weeks before we were coming, because I hurt my back. I was carrying about 60 kg running. My kids were in the car crying, and I had to clear my lab space. So I was giving it to friends, and kids crying. So I was down for about 3 weeks. So during my animal experimentation, I wasn't straight like this. I was bent. Looking at what was ahead, I just pressed on to finish.
More questions for
my concern is about the oil.
Yeah,
because luckily in our homes, especially in our villages where the butter is consumed, then likely this product will be mostly used. What about the fatty acid profile is not encouraged with respect to this consumption? Because most of them use the butter with the
palm oil.
Palm oil.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be used to enhance the palatability of the product, why not?
Yeah, that is going to be the
because
issue.
If you use it, then it's likely that the kids will eat more of it than.
Yeah. So these are some of the things we have to consider in a clinical trial. If the mother will not afford, do we still have fried oil?
Yes.
Yeah, if the mother cannot afford the fried oil, and she can do with soap, that will be okay. You get the whole idea.
That's comparable.
Yeah. Do they have so many bottles now because they started? Yeah. And tastes like the one from my village, the salty one for Uruguay. So if that one is available, then it's okay. But all that we are saying now is, like, we have just started this whole way. In 2010, a publication came out on sweet potato complementary feeding by Nadutu. She is in Kenya. That was her PhD thesis. But fortunately, she did not do anything on the phytate. She did not do anything on, though she was using orange flesh, she did not do anything on the beta-carotene content. And the other issue was the processing involved freeze drying the roots so that they'll get a dry matter, then use it in cooking method, like similar to what I've done, then finally freeze drying. So that method cannot be adapted at the household level. You get the whole idea. So that made me push on. I nearly packed my bags back to Ghana. There's nothing again for you to do because it's already done. So I'm here to write to her and see how we can do it anyway.
Any questions?
I think earlier in your presentation you mentioned that you were trying to come up with a product that is ready to use, ready to eat. But I don't see that.
The final product, the one the woman tasted, was the ready to use phase. Just cooking like a pot.
But you still have to cook the potato.
So,
Yeah.
we've got
It's
the
not like
answer
a
here.
product that you just add water.
Much of Africa.
Oh, okay. I'm getting to process it into the dry powder. Like add Cerelac. That was what we did for my Inaugural study. Those were the products. That was the one my daughter was eating. So you just add milk to it. But the issue, I was being guided by the fact that how many people will get the milk product to prepare it with it. So if that is it, then you can go to that stage. And at the industrial level, the method we did can be adapted. Instead, after cooking, all they will do is to freeze dry it. So you don't freeze dry as nothing to do, freeze dry the roots. Then at the end of the day, freeze dry. Just cook the root like a poto and freeze dry it. And the color is nice. I have one public magazine going around, I don't know. This is the final color of the cream flesh one. This is the final color of the cream flesh one. So if you dry it like to an instant food, it will be like that. But at the household level, if you are doing the poto, they don't have to really dry. They just feed the poto to the food.
I don't think too many people are doing poto. Anyway, there's been somebody did a small qualitative study that showed that actually mothers are willing to pay a little amount of money for convenience.
Oh.
And these Nestle's and them are capitalizing on it by having 1 serving sachets of things. Which people are willing to buy. They may not want to buy a whole can of syrup, but if you have 10 pesos, they are willing to buy that and just add water as opposed to having to cook.
So that's the way they want it in Ghana. We can go through that way. Yeah. Nah, I'm not into that. That's why I have my father as an economist here to help with that one. My only aim is to make available for the woman living up north where I work to prepare food that he can give to the baby to be eaten. For commercialization, well, we'll think about it.
Yes, I was going to say that it's also possible to produce the flour using a mechanical dryer.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm from Food Research Institute.
Yeah.
In fact, we produce orange flesh flour that is used in bakery products.
But I don't know if you did analysis of the flour for ascorbic acid.
They do all the analysis. I can't tell offhand. So just as she was saying, the mothers are prepared to have it ready to mix. So if you use that to form it, it just binds.
Yeah, we can easily do the flour, but in that case, if you're doing the flour, there's a tendency that you lose all your ascorbic acid. So now where do we stand? We can do the flour, add ascorbic acid, but then it means you have to buy ascorbic acid and add it to the food.
But because you have not done the trial itself, acid is coming from another component of the food. You get it?
Yeah. No, soya bean, the soya bean in it is not a source of ascorbic acid, neither the fat or the oil.
Yes.
Yeah, so the only thing will be the orange flesh, the sweet potato itself. And if you process the flour as I did previously, you get 0 ascorbic acid. So in case, like what I use for the final analysis is a dry product. So you can process it, cook it as cooking. Every industry can do that. But then you need a roller dryer to dry it. Then it becomes a ready to use complementary food. But if we are going that way, Ghanaians, I don't know if like the cereal containing anchovies, if they will accept it in Ghana. Yeah, it tastes a little bit fishy, but it's a source of omega-3 fatty acid. If you get it, so now everything is in our capacity to either promote it or not to promote it. It's fishy, but it's a source of omega-3 fatty acid, which is needed for brain development. So those are some of the things we have to do. Anything can be done with it. So we see how we'll go forward from here. There are a few things we are considering to do anyway.
Thank you
very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I read about beta carotene, and I heard that it has a lot of conjugated double bonds.
Yeah.
And then the more heat you apply to it, and then storage also could oxidize most of the double bond. So I want to know how long you cook the pre-treatment of the.
We cooked it for 2 hours. The conversion from the cis to the L form, which makes it unavailable, is under drastic heating and not ordinary cooking. Though there will be some conversion. There's a paper to that effect by the team is based in Greenwich. I've forgotten their name, but if you want, I can give you that paper. They did a study to find out how the conversion works. But you get some, at least about, let's say, 5 to 10% being converted to the unavailable form. And the orange flesh is meeting more than 100% of it. So the available form will at least meet what is required.
Anybody have any questions? Any more questions? Okay, let's give him another hand. How long are you going to be with us here in Accra before you go, so that in case somebody has a question later, wants to see you about continuing your research? As I said, the possibility is endless.
Yeah.
So
even if I'm up north, I can still come down. I have my folks down, so I can still come down. I'm not going to just be tied up now. Everything happens in Accra, isn't it?
Or you can see me and I'll let
I'm looking forward to collaborating with lecturers in the department, because UDS will not be the #1 in nutrition. I'm there, but it will not be #1. Maybe in 10 years' time, we'll see how things go. But for now, it's nutrition and food science department later on. So I'll still be collaborating with the department. If you are eager to work, that's a serious student who is willing to go the extra mile, we can see what we can do about it. What I want is, now we've done this, what can we do? We get some mandate, train them on how to process their food at the household level, and do a study on it, which I'm trying to come up with. It's for Ghana, not for the northern Ghana. But if you want to see me,
come through. Anyway, so thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. Now we have come to the best part. Now we have seen food being, I'm sure you're all starving, but hold on, something is coming. Let's stay here.
I hope there's sweet potato in it.
Unfortunately not. Yes.